Hey everybody, this is Randy Rodenhouse, founder of the Note Authority and author of the Stock Market Crash Diet, all about self-directed IRAs. And today we're going to talk about the top 10 factors to consider when buying performing notes. There's a lot of things to consider when you're buying the notes, and today we're going to kind of focus on the performing ones. Down the road we'll talk about some of the non-performing as well. So let's get started. Number one, you need to determine the lien position. I mean, are you buying a note that's in first position, second position, third position? You really have to find out what position you're in, and how many mortgages are on the property is important as well. And how do you do this? A simple title search will do that for you. You can get a title search done by a title company or sometimes through an attorney. Second thing is determining the value of the property is very important. This is probably one of the most important things. The value of the property. You need to confirm the value of the property that secures the note and the mortgage. And again, how do you do this? You can do this through what we call an AVM, or you can do this through a BPO. And a AVM is simply a valuation report, also known as a automated valuation model, that is a process to determine kind of by a scientific means, by looking at the property's current value and looking at properties around it and what things sold and all that good stuff. A BPO is simply a broker's price opinion, and that's one I would probably rely on more, where a broker goes out to the property and basically does an external appraisal. So those are the two ways to do that. Number three, you need to determine the unpaid principal balance. That's what UPB stands for, unpaid principal balance, and the maturity date. You need to verify the outstanding balance due on the note and when it matures, what are the terms of the note, and so on. So those are very important. That's very important information to know and understand. And again, how do you get this information? You need to review the actual note, the original note, and mortgage. And if there happens to be a loan modification, of course, you need to review that as well. So number four, you need to verify the actual note seller. Who's selling this note? Confirm that the note seller, i.e. the assignor, in this case, when you're signing the mortgage, the person's going to sign the mortgage to you. Make sure that person is the owner of the note. There's a lot of brokers out there, and which is fine, but you have to make sure who the owner is and that it's coming from the owner to you. And you simply can figure that out by looking at the chain of assignments, and you'll see who is the last person on that chain. Number five, you need to study the payment history. You need to really verify that the note is actually a performing note by looking at the payment history and when the next payment date is. So, for example, you look back and see that the last 12 payments are made, and the next payment is due date is the following month. Well, that shows that the note is performing and the person's paying. And you need to simply look again at the borrower's payment history, and you can receive that from the loan seller. Number six, you need to verify tax and insurance status. And you need to know if the taxes are paid and whether the property is insured. So that's pretty important to find out. You can get a copy of the insurance tax page and search the county records for taxes paid. That's probably the best way to figure that out. Of course, the county, you can call the county tax assessors and find out how much tax are owed, or if any. And then usually the seller of the note will have some information on what the insurance is being paid and so on. Number seven, is the property owner occupied? That's what OO stands for, or rented. Now, I like to know whether it's owner occupied or rented for a couple of reasons. I'll tell you in a second. You need to verify whether the property is owner occupied or is being rented, and how you do so is to talk to the note seller again. Also, check the tax records for mailing address. Sometimes you'll see on the tax records that the mailing address is different than the property address, which means that typically the owner doesn't live there and it's rented. Not always, but a lot of times. You also need to, you could, I guess, check the names on the utilities. Sometimes the utility companies they don't want to give that information out, but sometimes they will, you'll get lucky and the person will give that information out to you. So you need to find out. I like owner-occupied properties rather than rented properties, just simply because of the fact that typically an owner takes care of the property better than the renter, and the fact that there's more emotional attachment to that property, and they're going to really continue trying to make the payments. It's very important to them. And again, not because sometimes the rented properties work out just as well. I'm not saying they don't. It's just that this is what I prefer on the performing notes, straight performing notes. So you need to verify if borrower is in BK, and BK stands for bankruptcy. You need to confirm whether the borrower is in active bankruptcy or has had any past bankruptcies and so on. And you can do this simply by looking at a site called PACER. It stands for Public Access to Court Electronic Records, and you can look at bankruptcies in all states and all 50 states. And there's usually different districts within the states. Depending on what state you're in, there might be 3 districts, there might be 1, there might be 5. It really depends. So again, it's pretty straightforward and easy, but you should check that out. If a person's in active bankruptcy, a lot of times they are paying and paying consistently, but you want to know these things. Number 9, you need to verify who is on the deed. This is who is on the title is what I'm talking about. So you need to confirm whether the borrower is the owner of record and the name on the deed. So this is important for the following reasons. For example, let's say John Doe lives in the property and John Doe's wife is on the deed. And John Doe's wife's passed away. Now, if the person wants to do a deed in lieu, they cannot do that because they're not on the deed. There's several other reasons as well. I don't have time to get into it in this video, but again, it's pretty important to understand these things. How do you obtain that? Again, simply go to the county records and look at the title and look at the deed. Number 10, verify other judgments and liens. You want to find out if there's any other judgments and liens, such as IRS liens or judgments on the property for work that's been done on the property, contractors, maybe utility liens and things like that. And you can determine that by simply doing a title search. Again, that's something you definitely need to do and understand to find out what liens are on the property as well. So those are the top 10 things. Hopefully that helped you out. If you have any questions on that, you can always send an email to ask@thenoteauthority.com. If you have not already signed up, you can go to thenoteauthority.com/free-gift, and you will get a free book called Stock Market Crash Diet, which is all about self-directed IRA investing. You will also get the free newsletter with articles, sample deals, resources. You also get free videos such as this explaining the how-tos of note buying. And a lot of you have already signed up, so you don't have to sign up again, of course. But for those who are seeing this video for the first time on YouTube or whatever, then go ahead and sign up, and we'll help you out. So if you have any questions, let us know, and we'll see you on the next video.